Alrighto, and welcome back to a new video and the day 3 preview of the Galway Festival for 2020, and also a few of the races from glorious Goodwood day 2. I'm very sorry about the lateness of this video. As I mentioned on last night's one, it's a busy week for me as it is from a work perspective, so it is difficult getting these videos out, but I want to get them out every day and hopefully get backing winners and everything in between. Today, another day, we didn't back any winners, unfortunately. But that being said, we had a profitable day. So, this idea that you have to back winners to make a profit is simply incorrect. We had major good placed efforts, 14 to 1 Auxilia, 16 to 1 in from the cold, although there was a big rule 4 on that one. 18 to 1 Magnetic North and 33 to 1 Conor, who got beaten ahead in the last. I couldn't believe it. 33 to 1 would have been an absolute sniffer, that one. But look, these things happen. Hope you guys managed to make a few bob from those each way selections if you were on. Anyway, I need to bomb through these races. As I say, 8 from Galway. The first jumps card of the Galway Festival this year, starting off with the 4:45, the 2 mile listed novice hurdle. I'm going to keep it pretty short and sweet here. I think the very man here is a massively appealing prospect. He's won his last 3. I was on him at Downpatrick, I think it was, on Ulster National Day, where he won at 9 to 4. Very impressive that day. It was my nap of the day that day. He seems to be quite versatile. He won at Roscommon last time out when, I don't think the race was actually, that kind of sharp 1 mile, kind of 7.5 at Roscommon probably wouldn't be exactly what this horse wants, but he showed a willing attitude there. He obviously enjoys doing the job. He enjoys jumping. He goes from the front, and I think he's going to be very hard to pass tomorrow. I think the stiffer finish will actually help him. I think 6 to 4, even though it's a short price, I haven't backed many short price favourites so far this week. He will be one I would back. The 5:15 is a 2 mile mare's handicap hurdle, and I'm going to take a chance on a mare that we won on last week. If you followed the Twitter tips, Two Shoe Tom. She's 11 to 1 in this race. I think she's a rock solid each way bet. She's sure to run a race off a mark 106. If you look at some of her best bumper form, where she was second to exit pole in a Leopardstown bumper and 5th in the Grade 2 mares bumper behind Santa Rosa and Big Bad and Beautiful, she shouldn't be running off 106 over hurdles. But essentially, she has been a bit disappointing over hurdles, only opening her account at Ballinrobe last time out by a head. But she did manage to get the job done that day, and hopefully she'll have taken a bit of confidence from that. There's some unexposed types in the terms of Millie in the Middle. A horse I backed last time out and was a bit disappointed maybe by the slightly tenderly ridden ride, but I still can't back her at the price. I missed the price, really. She's down to 3 to 1 now. I think that's a poor enough price. And Two Shoe Tom looks not a bad each way alternative at 11 to 1. 5:45, 2 mile 5 furlong maiden hurdle. I'm going to side with John McConnell's Hand in My Pocket here. Rachel Blackmore takes the ride. 10 to 3, this mare. She was interestingly second in a point-to-point, only beaten 2 lengths by Queen's Brook, who's a very exciting prospect for Gordon Elliott going novice hurdling this year, having finished 3rd in the champion bumper. She was second in a muscle bumper before winning at Bellewstown. The form of that race is decent enough. Gordon Elliott horse, I think it was Joe Box, I think his name is probably not one of the most willing types, but she beat him very well, and I think there's scope for improvement. This step up to 2 mile 5 is obviously 5 furlongs further than she's gone over in her time under rules, but as I say, she came second in a 3 mile point to point, so stamina should be good. Apparently the vibes are that she's jumping quite well at home, so hopefully she might take a bit of beating. I think I'd be taking on this Catskill Nap, only his first run over hurdles in 2.5 years. I know it's probably ballsy going against the Mullins factor, but I'm going to be doing that tomorrow. The 2 mile 5 furlong handicap hurdle looks a tricky enough race. It's a small stakes type of race. I'm going to take a chance on Mazzaro at 20 to 1 for Tom McCourt and Darrow Keefe. He acts well around Galway, winning a 2 mile handicap hurdle here last year and also ran a few nice races at the Galway Festival. 3rd to I Like the Way You're Thinking being probably the best of the lot. The only thing here is this step up in trip. Won over a mile 4 on the flat fairly recently before a tepid enough run behind the very man over 2 miles at Roscommon last time. So they're stepping him up well in trip here. He could go well off a mark of 116. I think he's weighted to run well. I'm not sure about the trip, as I say, but if he stays the trip, 20 to 1 will seem a big price. The 645 is the big one, the Galway Plate, 2 miles 6 furlongs. And I'm going to give you 2 darts at this one. One, because I couldn't get away from not putting up Peregrine Run. I do believe he's got a tough task off a mark of 158, to be honest. But he is still a very admirable type of horse. The ground at the moment is in his favour, and he's 12 to 1, which isn't a bad each way play, given there's probably going to be 5 or 6 places. Fourth in the race last year of only £1 lower, so he can handle these big weights. He's obviously a brilliant summer horse for connections. He's a 10-year-old at this stage. He's not getting any better, but he's sure to run his race, sure to jump well, and as long as the ground stays solid, should be bang there. And one at a massive price that I'm going to take a small chance on each way is Dinons at 28 to 1. He's won 3 chases, and in his 3 chases that he's won, he's jumped superbly, and in the other races he's run over fences, he's jumped very poorly. So you probably know you're faced with a horse like him pretty early on, but he is a horse of ability. He's running off a mark of 145, which I think is actually within his range, and it's just about whether he can go out and do the business. 7:15, 2 mile 2 furlong handicap chase, and a favourite of mine and a favourite of a fair few of us is Camino. I'm going to be backing him at 13 to 2. I think that's just about okay. Maybe an each way selection, I must confess, because it's a trappy handicap chase. He's running off a mark 134. He's only £2 higher when he won the big 2 mile handicap chase at the Dublin Racing Festival back in 2019, which was probably my greatest moment with Camino and greatest moment with Paul Nolan when he beat Dakota Moret in a flashing finish. I think he's got another one of these sort of big handicap chases in him. They obviously quite fancied him, I think, for the Galway Plate. Didn't quite make it into that race. He won over hurdles last time out with Brian Cooper on board. Brian Cooper retains the ride, and hopefully Camino can get the job done. 7:45, Mayor's Bumper. There's a short-priced favourite. The 2 bumpers have both short-priced favourites for Willie Mullins. I'm going to take both of them on, which could be very foolish, but you know, they're both odds on. I don't think that's particularly great, you know, putting up odds on shots on this, to be honest. 7:45 going to take a flyer on Conor's Joy for Peter Fahey and Barry O'Neill. This filly was really, well, must have been quite highly regarded, because it was really well backed at Roscommon on debut, backed into 2 to 1, but flopped terribly and was nowhere really. Was 10th out of 14, beaten around 50 lengths. She hasn't run since. Hopefully, like, it's a speculative punt just off the basis that her price was of the case that they obviously thought there might be something in her, and hopefully she might be able to show that tomorrow. 14 to 1 mightn't be the worst price. And the 8:15 looks a 2-horse race really in my book between the unexposed Mullins filly and Mahon's Glory, and I'm going to take Mahon's Glory to beat the filly here. 2 to 1 at best price at the moment. Dennis Hogan with, I think I'm not going to say. It's Jay Hogan. I don't know the man. I know he's ridden in a few bumpers, and he rode this horse to finish second in a Thurles bumper behind Major Robinson of Stuart Crawford's, I think, just before lockdown ensued. The form of that could end up being quite nice. I know I liked a Tom Taff horse in that race. He didn't run much of a race. But I think it's willing to take on the favourite. The rider's claim of £7 negates the £7 penalty between kind of a gelding and a mare, and therefore Mahon's Glory is the one for me off level weights at 2 to 1. Over at Goodwood, I've got 4 for you. So the 2 group races I'll cover, and obviously 2 of the others. The 110 is a mile 2 furlong fillies handicap. I'll give a chance each way in an 8-runner race to Dean Street Doll, who's 11 to 1 for David Menisier and Ryan Moore. Mark Tumblington 91. This filly was 5th in the Irish 1000 Guineas last year when trained by Richard O'Brien over in Ireland. She hasn't really repeated the dose over in England for current connections, but as I say, the mark is beginning to tumble, and she ran quite nicely last time out off a mark of 92. Moore keeps the ride, goes down a pound. I think she could have a chance. The 145 is the 2 mile 4 furlong handicap. I think Rochester House will win one of these races soon enough, and I'm going to back until he does. He's 8 to 1. I think he's appealing off a mark of 92. He was 5th in the Ascot Stakes when enduring a pretty horrible run and stayed on very well. This 2 mile 4 furlongs will be right up his street. He just gallops and gallops and gallops. He doesn't really have a turn of pace, but you know, you don't really need that at this sort of in this sort of a contest, and hopefully will be winning soon. 8-1, not so bad each way go. In terms of the group races, the Malcolm Stakes, it seems to be a wise guy's horse, this Steel Bull. I don't know whether to claim it or not. If any of you guys do watch some of the stuff I do over on Racing Central, I put this horse up on Sunday evening. The video went out Monday morning at a price of 7-1. He's now down to 4-1 with Colin Keane taking the ride from Mick O'Callaghan. You guys know how much I like these Mick O'Callaghan 2-year-olds. Look, I've backed it at 7-1, but obviously that's quite severe after timing if you haven't seen that prior video. So he's 4-1 at the moment. I still would back him at 4-1. I might go in again tomorrow and hope for the best. And the 3:15, the Sussex Stakes, should be an absolute perler of a race. One that you don't necessarily have to have a bet in, but I was fooled once by going against Siskin in the Irish 2,000 guineas. I'm not going to be fooled again. 15-8 he's drifted out to. I think that's a good price actually. And at the end of the day, Siskin will be my nap of the day at 15-8. I do think he's a really, really class horse. I think this easy mile at Goodwood will be right up his street. And I just think it's going to be too much of an ask for Mohatter and Circus Maximus to give him £8. I think that's too many pounds, and I think he's probably got the edge at this trip on this track over Camino personally, and hopefully he can do the business. He is the nap of the day. I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, please do give it a like and subscribe to the channel down below, and let me know how you've been getting on for the first 2 days of Galway and the first day of glorious Goodwood, whether you backed any winners or do you have any winners for us, hopefully over the next few days. Put them down in the comments below, and until tomorrow evening, hope to stay safe, stay well, land a few bets, and I'll see you guys then. Cheers.